In this lesson, you are going to read a map and write proportions to figure out how far away 2 points of interest are on actual land or water. So let's start by measuring the distance between 2 points. Our first 2 points are the large palm tree and the skull and crossbones. So the large palm tree is right here and the skull and crossbones are right here. We're going to count the distance between them by measuring or using those squares. So let's count from here. 1, 2, 3, 4. Those are 4 units apart. We're just going to finish this column here for the distance on the map. So our next 2 points of interest are the cave and the parrot. Here's the cave, here's the parrot. Let's count the distance between them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So those two are 8 units apart. And lastly, we have the waterfall and the small palm tree. Here's the waterfall, here's the small palm tree. I'm going to start at the waterfall because that palm tree is kind of floating in the middle. It's not like at an intersection of the lines. So I'm going to start at the waterfall and I'm going to count over 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and halfway. We're going to call that 8.5. All right, so far we've measured the distance between the 2 points on the map. Pretty easy. Now we have to write proportions. I'm going to go back to the map here. There's something super important that we need to pay attention to. Whoops, right down here. The map is telling us that this line represents 2 miles on land. Well, how long is this line? 1, 2, 3 units. So this ratio, 3 units on the map, represents 2 miles on land. We're going to use this ratio for every single proportion. All right, so for the proportions, our first ratio is 3 units on the map represents 2 miles on land. I can actually go ahead and fill that out for all of them because the map is telling us that this part is true. So then for the next ratio, I have the word units on top here, and this measurement that I measured is also in units. So this 4 is going to come right over here. So if 3 units on the map is 2 miles on land, then 4 units on the map is X miles on land. Then we get to solve the proportion. I like to use cross products. So when we multiply going across like this, the products will be equivalent. So 2 times 4 is 8, and 3 times x is 3x. So 8 is equal to 3 times a number. Well, that's not going to be a whole number because it's not 1, it's not 2, it's not 3. So we're going to have to solve for x. So on the side with a variable, I see multiplication. So our inverse is division. We're going to divide both sides by 3. On the side with a variable, 3 divided by 3 is 1. 1x can be written as just x. And then we can plug 8 divided by 3 into a calculator. Your calculator will give you this. It might round it and put a 7 at the end. So we're going to round to the nearest hundredth. Hundredth means we want 2 digits after the decimal. If the next digit is 5 or higher, you're going to round up or like add on a penny. So we can pretend this is like $2.66. We're going to add on a penny, $2.67. But then we're going to remember to change it back because we're really talking about miles. So 2 67/100 of a mile. That wasn't too bad. All right, let's go to the next proportion. So the cave and the parrot were 8 units apart on the map. So for the proportion, we have 3 units on the map is 2 miles on land. And then 8 units on the map is X miles on land. I'm going to solve using cross products. 2 times 8 is 16. 3 times x is 3x. So 16 is equivalent to 3 times some number. So we can use the inverse operation and we can divide both sides by 3. 3 divided by 3 is 1 and 1x is just x. And then 16 divided by 3. Our calculator gives us 5 and a whole bunch of 3's. But we're going to round to the nearest hundredth, which is 2 numbers after the decimal. This next digit is less than 5, so we just won't worry about any of that. We'll round down. So 5 33/100 of a mile. All right, for the last one, the waterfall and the small palm tree is 8.5 units apart. So that 8.5 is going to go up on top of our second ratio, and we'll solve this proportion. 2 times 8.5 is 17. 3 times x is 3x. So 17 is equal to 3 times a number. The inverse of multiplication is division, so we're going to divide both sides by 3. And then 17 divided by 3 is 5 and 6 repeating. Oops. All right, so it looks like that's our answer, but since this next digit is 5 or higher, we're going to round up. So we're going to round up to 5 67/100 of a mile. Now it's your turn to give it a try.